In today's drop, we are getting Batman versus Killer Croc. Croc's first appearance in Batman's first ever coloured statue on Veve. So in this episode of Inside the Vault, we're going to look at this NFT itself, my strategy behind it all, and all the relevant information that you're going to need to know about how to pick this up in the best way moving forward. Let's get started. Welcome in everyone, my name is Andy and I appreciate you taking some time out of your day to come and watch this video on the channel. Just before we get going, if you are enjoying the content and you want to support me further, you can hit that subscribe button. And if you want to support me even further than that, you can join the membership too. Today is a really exciting drop, and I'm guessing by the time this video goes out, the drop's probably already happened and you've either got it or you don't. Most of us probably don't, and we're going to be looking at the secondary market. I want to tell you a little bit more when it comes to the drop itself, what you can maybe expect from the price and my market strategy for this. Batman is quite significant when it comes to Veve, because the first ever drop was the Todd McFarlane Batman, and we've also had 5 black and white series so far of the Batman in general, and this is going to be the first time we've ever saw a coloured version of Batman himself. Batman is extremely popular as a character. He's sort of seen as maybe the third most popular superhero, could be second depending on what sources you look at, but there's absolutely no doubt that the movies, the TV shows and more are all incredibly successful and continue to be incredibly successful as we move forward here. So today we're getting the Killer Croc versus Batman, which really is a masterpiece, and we're going to look at it a little bit further a little bit later on. But first, let's discuss a little bit behind the scenes of the Killer Croc himself and the people behind it. Now this drop is actually done by a man named Jim Fletcher. Now we can see here from the talent directory that creative director of DC Direct is Jim Fletcher himself. Has been an absolute amazing employee, it seems, for DC themselves, with being incredibly successful all over what he was doing. He designed different statues, he's worked on Batman, he's worked with Todd McFarlane, he's worked with a lot of other people. And here Jim's also spearheaded some of DC's longest running successful action figure lines, such as Batman the Animated Series, Justice, Blackest Night, and the various Arkham video game collectible figures, all highly prized by collectors. Jim has also directed numerous products for almost every major film release since joining DC. So Jim certainly is someone not to be messed with when it comes to the success that he brings to DC and what he's been able to do, which is amazing to see. Let's then have a look at the Medium article and what we're expecting to get for this drop today. We can see that this is the statue that we've got. It is beautiful to say the least. It really is something special. There's so much design to it. There's so many little details involved within it. You know, you can see some of the batarangs in his chest for the Croc. And this statue we can also see from here was originally designed for the statues for DC Direct, and it sold out quickly, becoming a highly prized collectible statue. And collectors' demand was so high it was later re-released multiple times with different paint schemes and sizes. Jim has a quote here where he goes on to talk about what the statue actually represents, you know, him fighting them, the batarang wrapped around Croc's mouth as well, demonstrating it. We can see some of the sketches from left to right with Jim Fletcher and Walter O'Neill, who had done the sketches for this statue itself to eventually come into what this is as a whole. Today we have it at 4 PM or my time anyway. There's $120 for the list price, and there's 8,880 editions with the first appearance of Killer Croc. Obviously not Batman himself, because we actually have had Batman quite a few times. So there is very limited editions. It's also not in the blind box format. A lot of the people I've found anyway on Twitter, you get a lot lower percentage of actually getting the drops when it comes to that. I'm not sure if there's a reason behind it. I'm not sure if there's just something that doesn't work often in our favor when it comes to that format. So I'm really not expecting to get this. I'm more likely expecting to get it off the secondary market. But this is a beautiful design for the statue, and definitely the first statue anyway from DC that we've saw so far. Since there were so many editions released on this different thing, there are a few, and it's actually quite hard to find one that has the one we are getting on Veve today with the price that I could see on eBay or anything like that. We can see here that statue was $150. There's a limited edition of 5,000 of them, but they're already sold out. And again, this really isn't the one we're getting, because we have a black inside of the cape and then it's blue on the outside, whereas this one has blue on the inside and it doesn't actually give us another picture from the outside of it. But I'd actually say it's the second edition where it looks like anyway that we're going to be getting for this. Again, I've not got a picture of the back of this. I'm not able to find a picture of the back. I've tried to look around eBay with some people who have more. It seems the second edition may actually have black background and not the blue one. This is what I think they mean by there were so many different editions released because it was so popular. I'm not actually entirely sure exactly which edition this one is, as some have the black cape on the outside and not the inside, some have the blue cape on the inside and not the outside. So it's going to be interesting to see which one this actually is, but I genuinely can't find anything where they're selling it. There's a first edition here for £600, but again, it's got the black inside and the black outside. It's not actually the one we're getting on Veve, but I'm guessing that it is still extremely sought after and something that people are going to be paying a lot of money for when it comes to it. So we saw that Jim Fletcher has been incredibly successful when it comes to DC and what he's been able to do for them. The design on Veve is absolutely beautiful, and this is the first statue we've ever got in regards to DC themselves. We're seeing Batman with the first appearance of Killer Croc, an incredible design, and so much more. So let's then move on to the pricing strategy, maybe what we're thinking behind that, and my plans for it moving forward. If we have a look at the Batman series that we've got so far when it comes to just the Batman black and white, we can see the prices range from around $500 to about $20,000 when you're at the likes of Resale. Now, I definitely don't believe it's going to reach those sort of heights, but what we can see from here is Becky Cloonan's at $2,700, we've got Darwin Cook at $270, we've got the Batman black and white series at $430, Joe's at $1,700, we've got Gary Frank at $410. There is quite a wide variety of what they are and what is sort of offered. Right now we've got Amanda Connor at $1,389, but again, these are different even though they have a lot lower listings. I mean, Amanda Connor only has $1,750, Jason Fabok only has 5,500 editions. So if we're going off editions alone, you know, something like the Killer Croc, even being a rare, shouldn't actually be it because there's 8,888 editions. However, I still do believe this will be something that is extremely sought after, especially in the collector side of things. It's going to be a one set item. So my price range from the beginning anyway is something sitting around between 800 to 1,400 gems. Now I know that's quite a wide variety of a range, but there's a few reasons for this. We just got announced as well that we're getting Minnie Mouse FA coming to Veve very shortly, and there might be some other things that are hidden that we might be getting in the next coming weeks. This means to me that I think a lot of people are going to be waiting for certain things that they want more than others, and because we've seen Batman before and we haven't seen Minnie, this price might actually be a little bit lower in the beginning and then quickly rise after that. I see this statue being a 2k plus item easily, but in the beginning I think it's going to be quite hard because right now we're in a gem squeeze where people are selling off things quite quickly, the market's bouncing back at random times, plus people are waiting for the article when it comes to Minnie Mouse and maybe some new drops that are going to be happening over the next coming weeks. So I think this might start around 800 to 1,400 gems, but may quickly rise after that. It depends on if people are willing to hold this sort of thing and if people are actually really after what the statues are when it comes to Veve. This will be the first time that we've seen something like this, especially in regards to Batman, so I'm actually really curious to see how this will go and how this will actually move forward. And if I can pick it up on a decent deal in the beginning and then save and maybe sell off another one over the long run if I happen to pick up two. I actually don't have the gems to get them at the moment, so I might actually have to wait in order to actually buy one of them, but that's just how it goes sometimes. We can't always buy everything and that's okay. My strategy for it is to wait and see what happens after the drop and to really watch the price and see how it moves. Again, as I said, I don't actually have the gems for it right now, so I'm going to have to wait either way for something to sell or just wait it out and not really worry about it at the time being. I do think it's a beautiful statue and something that people will be after. Being a one set collector as well, it will be something that people will want. Even if it doesn't give you the most MCP points, it's still quite cool to see your sets go up for collecting the things that you love. And Batman still is an extremely popular character. We've not had Batman in a while when it comes to the drops, and the last one was the Batman Black and White series. So again, people are probably wanting another one of those to see what they're like and actually get their hands on them. We've not had the opportunity to get their hands on them from series 1 to 5. It might actually be their opportunity or their first opportunity to get into something that's brand new and they can get at a decent price before things maybe skyrocket or things level themselves out. This was the same issue that I'd had when it came to the 12 days of Veve, and I'd done Inside the Vault for the things like Deadpool, the Coca-Cola drops, and the Mickey drop. Because so many things were happening at different times, because the Mickey drop was happening when the Deadpool drop and the Coca-Cola drop had just happened, Coca-Cola and Deadpool were less sought after than something like Mickey Mouse. And I reckon this will be the same when it comes to something like Minnie Mouse, because Batman will be sold off when the article gets released for Minnie. So potentially my strategy could be to wait on the Medium article coming out for Minnie Mouse to see what that is actually about, see people sell off some of the collectibles I want, including the Croc and Batman, and then potentially pick them up there, either hold for the long run or sell off after Minnie Mouse finishes, see when people are actually buying in more to the things they missed out on, either on the drops or at the market at that day. The other thing that I'm going to say to you is that recently we've been having a lot of gems being purchased on Veve. Over the last few days, we saw 2.4 million, 2.3 million, 2.3 million, 2.8 million, and 4.5 million since the 18th of January being purchased on the Veve app. Now, since we saw a little bit of a retraction and maybe a little bit of a bounce back, there's a lot of gems that are waiting to get into something that are not really happening as of right now. I suspect there's going to come a point where a lot of people buy into some stuff and we might see a sharp run up in some of the collectibles, especially if they're things that people are after. This is why it's important to look at the market, look at gems purchased, and actually understand your own strategy when it comes to something like this, as you're going to be able to make the best decision for yourself as you move forward and as you progress within your Veve sort of career, if you'd like. I'd love to hear your strategy when it comes to the killer croc. Are you going to be picking them up right away, or are you going to be holding off to see if you can get them on a deal? I'd love for you to let me know down below. I know the video on the screen right now will be something you'll love to watch. Have a fantastic day.